You can, but here's the question. When your best friend calls to talk to you, and this is, kind of try to find out, are you over your ex, whether it be ex-spouse or ex-girlfriend or someone that you liked and you were never in a relationship but you still have feelings for, do you ask your friend how they are doing in an attempt to avoid discussion about how you're doing? Do you, 2, read out loud your ex's last email to you, wondering if maybe there is something to read between the lines? 3, discuss or probe for juicy gossip or scandal about your ex. Or 4, talk about a shared hobby or make plans to do something together.
4. Do we have to write down?
No, you don't have to write. No, this is an actual written scored quiz. We're gonna get to that in a second.
There's a lot.
Yeah, the answer should be the last one.
Well, there's a lot there that I don't understand because what we mean to say is that they are giving us this question, but the truth of the matter is the Bible says forgiveness.
Oh, sure.
We're bound until we forgive.
Right.
And if our ex has hurt us, we bound that sin to us. And if we don't forgive, we'll start acting like them sooner or later.
With the next one.
Yeah. Well, in our life, we'll start being an image of what they did to us.
Right.
That's binding the sin to us.
Right.
So so the first thing you have to do is you have to forgive and release them. And Jesus says, if you don't forgive, I won't forgive you.
That's
so
right.
this
That's
is
right.
like this powerful thing,
Right.
So that's why I don't understand those things, because truthfully the question is, are you working on forgiving? Or and I would say this, are you thinking about your ex, that you want your ex, whether it be a guy or girl, to have a good life? Do you want them blessed in whatever they do?
Right.
Do you want them to go on with their life and be happy and be prosperous and enjoy themselves?
Right.
And you see, if you can want that for somebody, that shows that your heart is probably changed.
Right.
But if you want, if you want them to step on a nail and all their tires to be flat, and then you've got problems. So I would
agree.
look at that in a different way.
Well, no, I'm glad you brought that up, because that is a good point. Because if you're not, my ex was abusive to me in many, many levels, but I forgive him, even though he's never asked for forgiveness, even though he still
Right.
admits he hasn't done anything wrong. But I do want him to be happy, and I'm at peace with what happened there because I do forgive him. And I think that's important, because if you don't forgive the person you were with, you can't go into a new relationship healthy. You can't, like you said, you have to forgive before you're forgiven.
Also,
But
it's
I don't-
expressing.
I don't read that in that question.
No, that's not.
that's what I was saying.
No,
I wouldn't-
this
I wouldn't
question
do
is
this.
more about.
This
This
question's
question
about
more
what do
about
you
is
talk
our.
Surface.
If you are preoccupied
Yeah.
with your ex-husband's life, you're
Right.
not. Well, the point is you're not ready to move on.
This one's kind
Is
of
what
like
the question's
where your
about.
mind is.
Right.
What are your
Right.
motives
Right.
when you talk
Right.
to your friend? The first 3 are just
Right.
selfish, really.
Right.
And the fourth one is just being truthful.
Right.
Yeah.
If Dolly calls me out of the blue and
And
we
despite
start to
it.
talk, what are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about something we share, something we have in common, something we're planning on doing.
Your exes?
And it doesn't say that. It says
She calls. Dolly calls her. What does she do?
I'm sorry.
That's
Right.
the only
Yeah.
one that pertains to the ex is the second one.
Yeah.
The question is about your best friend calling to talk to you.
Well, even
Where's your
the first one's talking about I'm avoiding how I'm really doing.
Yeah.
That means that you're in a
I
bad
guess
place
these are
too.
signs that show
Absolutely.
that there's something deeper
That's
there.
right.
Right.
That's absolutely right. So let's look at the next one. Upon overhearing a conversation about a new romantic restaurant in town, you, 1, get upset that there is no one special in your life to go and explore it with. 2, make a list in your head of friends and coworkers you would gather together to check it out with.
Number one's you, Julie.
3,
Call Julia.
sigh
Did
and
you
think to
request
yourself.
already?
Don't Don't get me laughing. Sigh and think to yourself how much your ex would love to go there. And then 4, think about all the romantic places your ex used to take you to when the two of you were still together.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Well, even one doesn't even have to do with your ex. One has nothing to do with your ex. One is like, you're not even happy for people who are happy. Okay? And so that's an issue too. That might have nothing to do with the fact that you're over your ex or not. But are you in a place where you can be happy for someone who is happy?
Yeah.
So I know a lot of people that can't. The third one, after what seems to be the perfect first date with someone new, you 1, wonder what demons he or she was hiding because this relationship is sure to tank as well. 2, look forward to a second date to get to know this intriguing person better. 3, are giddy, excited, and can't wait to tell your friends about your new partner. 4, think the date was great, but they don't compare to your ex. Well, I guess it depends on the date.
Yeah, right.
No, but I mean the first one is, and I know somebody. Actually, I know someone right now who spent some time with someone, and they seem to have a really good relationship. Actually, they met through the group, and they're already wondering, there's got to be something wrong with this guy. I mean, we're too happy. I mean, something's got to be wrong. And but she's comparing him to the hurts that she had in her past and the failures in her past relationships, and that's not fair to the person you're with.
Kind of want to dig them up before you get to see if you can handle them or something.
Because that alone can push them away
Right.
and ruin what God might have intended to be together. So you've got to be really
Like you
careful.
said, not receiving a compliment.
That's right.
You push it. Wait a second. I just told you how nice you look, and I meant it from the heart. And you're going to say, oh, no.
Well, and I remember being in a bad place and actually fighting with someone. He was being nice. I'm like, what? What are you up to? He's like, what? I mean, I thought you
It's where your focus is.
Right.
Yeah, it's where
Right,
you focus.
right.
If you focus on bad things,
Right.
then you're going to create bad things. If
You
you
don't know, by
focus
my
on good
experience,
things.
when with my ex-wife, if I did something wrong, I would always come home with something like, oh, look, I bought you this, or, and it wasn't even if I wasn't having no affairs with anybody, but if I did something wrong the night before, or I told her something in a provocative way, or we got into an argument, I'd come home and, not every time, but I'd come home and try to bring her some flowers or whatever. And she'd be like, "What'd you do now? Did you sleep with another woman?" I mean, that was the first thing out of her mouth, of course. But
Can't do anything nice.
And
Yeah,
a lot
right.
of it
Well,
has
well,
nothing to do with you. It has to
Get
do
the
with her.
slightest little tip. You got to go buy something from Tiffany's. You know what I'm saying?
right, absolutely, right.
All right, the next one. While out and about, you run into your ex who is obviously on a date. You, 1, avoid them as much as possible by running to the nearest bathroom and hiding until you think they're left. It is just too painful to see your ex with someone new. 2, you go over to your ex, say hello, introduce yourself to his to his or her date, chat a little, and then go about the rest of your day. 3, make a scene by pointing your ex out to anyone who will listen and telling them what a horrible person he is or she is. And 4, catch the ex's eye and smile, then quickly change your plans to find something that will dull the pain. A drink, someone new to flirt with, a piece of chocolate, or a pair of shoes. Well, shoes, it was a lady. Probably guys.
Some good options.
That's saying that the only right thing to do in that instance is to go introduce yourself.
Or do nothing. Or do nothing.
I
think or do nothing.
You don't have to go introduce yourself.
You know,
Oh, man,
if you're in a
that's
hurtful
almost
relationship with
Hey, how you
somebody,
doing?
Oh, man.
if you were in a hurtful relationship with somebody and you let it go, I mean, for me, example, the day that my girlfriend kicked me out of her life, I told her, I want you to be happy, and even if it's not me. That was just after she said she didn't want to see me anymore. And that's where I've been all the thing. But the thing is, when she started dating something out of respect, I don't want to be at the same function where she was with a new boyfriend.
Sure.
That seems a stressful situation.
Right.
I took myself out of that picture so they would have freedom. And they
But
would
what
be
if you
blessed.
saw her,
ran into
if you
them.
ran
In a public
into
place,
them
you
and
just ran in
by
on that.
accident, how would you react?
I would do nothing.
That's the question.
If I
here.
was sitting there and she came in and sat down, I would not try to communicate with her at all, but I wouldn't change any of my plans.
Okay, well that's healthy too. But
There's
and if they're in your
That's
face,
hard
that's
to
really
know.
the question. If they're in your face, are you gonna act like they're not there, or
If
I mean,
they
I
came over and
would,
talked to me,
yeah,
I
I would
talk
at
to
least,
them,
I would
but
say
it's
hi
just,
and be nice,
My ex.
and say
And
that
I
I'm
do
okay.
stuff for all the time. Even when I was married to the other wife, go help her out.
Right.
That's another thing in a relationship. Can you handle your spouse going to help his ex-wife and doing things that they have children together. Can you handle that?
Mm-hmm.
See, my second wife told me if I died, go back and be with the first wife and be the man you were supposed to be the first time
Oh,
too.
wow.
That's deep. That's
That is
Beverly.
Mhm.
Told me that. My first wife and me are like this. We're great friends.
Mhm.
She said we're married spiritually. I said, well, that's fine. But see, I
Well,
was never happy with
right.
myself in my relationships, being okay with who I am. And I kept trying to mold myself into what they
Well,
wanted instead of being what
Another
Christ
lesson
wanted
we're
me
going
to
to
be.
talk about is once you're in a relationship, is it appropriate to still maintain close friendships with someone of the opposite sex? Because it you know, friends is okay, but then there's still some boundaries that you have
Oh,
to
I
keep
agree
out of
100%
respect for
with
the
that.
person that you're with.
In a dream world, when God's relating to people, I see all the time. God wants to lock the back door, and we open it up. And you know, and what I think about, you know, what I would think about in this situation, if I walked in the room and I saw my ex, and my heart went, you know, then I would know that I still have feelings, and I'm still, you know, and I can cover that up, and I can say hi and everything. But, you know, I think that I need to go to God and say, Lord, you know, I'm not over this totally, and I need to forgive, and Lord, I want to release them. And maybe I've got a soul tie or something there where, you know, and we did, if you're married, you had a soul tie. So.
Absolutely.
So, you know, that soul tie is still alive, and so when you walk in the room and you're so some people are going to be angry. They're going to go, you know, get out of here, or, you know, and yeah, that's a bad guy, because they're trying to protect themselves, or they're going to, like, you know, no, I don't want to talk to you, get the hand, you know, or whatever it might be, or don't say anything, or go up and say hi because you're trying to cover up this hurt that's still inside. But if you know the hurt is there, then rather than just keep walking on it, you want to deal with it. You want to go to God and say, and ask Him, you know, Lord, help me with this hurt, this inside hurt, you know, but yeah, the one thing I do know is that when you have new beginnings, God wants to. You don't ever want to carry your past into
It's
the
extra
future.
baggage. Yeah.
Right, you
wanna
don't
let that
carry
go.
your past into your future. You want to lock the back doors, chain them,
That's right. Throw
put
away
another
the
door
key.
over it, you know,
Deadbolt.
hide it.
That's right.
Anyway,
That's
but-
right. That's a good point. Very good
Dr.
point.
Phil had something on the show one day too. I was watching, the lady was teaching about dating again. Never, for both, never going back and giving your resume to a person as soon as you meet them. Telling them all your faults, telling them everything about you. Until you get to know that person, you start to have friendship with them, because not everybody's going to be honest and tell you, it was a crackhead, I've committed every sin there ever was, done all these wrongs. Until you're honest with yourself, you'll never, I don't even want to be with a relationship until that person can communicate with me and open up and say, hey, this is what I was. It's not who you was. So
That's
anyway,
right.
it's who you are today.
That's
The
right.
old things pass away. So if my thinking's going to go back to thinking about a man, if you're still thinking in that way, well, then you're still in your old condition.
Well,
You
it
need
just
to renew that
means
mind.
there's some things in your heart that God has to deal with. You know, I
It
mean,
might just be hurt.
there
It
can
might
be
not be that
a wound that just hasn't healed
Right.
yet. You know, and that's what she was saying.
Mhm.
Maybe it's not time for the marriage.
Mhm.
Maybe, you know, you could be friends, but to get serious, and
Right.
you're still having those, you know, I think that would want to be healed before you
Right.
get
Right.
serious and go in another relationship. So
Right.
these are, I guess this would be a sign. I don't want to get serious and go in another relationship until I get this healed.
And just think
You
about
know.
it. If you are in a new relationship and you happen to walk into that restaurant and that ex-person walks in and your face drops and you're with your mate, what does that tell your mate?
Exactly.
Right.
Imagine how your mate might
Yeah.
would
That's
feel.
right. That's
I
right.
mean, if I was with the person that supposedly loves me and his ex-wife walks in and he's like, you know, I would be torn. That would hurt me.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
yeah.
you know, I can just say that right after me and my ex split, it was like about a year later, because it was right after Katrina. And her and the guy that she left me for split up, right? They broke up for like about 7 months. So I had to go do something. I don't know what it was. I went to my ex-mother-in-law's house for something. She called me to come do something. And when I went over there, Bridget showed up, my ex-wife, right?
Right.
So we went and hung out, and then you know, as friends. And I asked her. She asked me, "Will you forgive me for cheating on you?" I said, "I forgive you." I said, you know, and it made me feel so good just to forgive her for what she did.
That's right.
And it wasn't with the man she just broke up with. It was with another guy. So I told her, I said, I forgive you. We hung out, we had a good time that day. We ate dinner together, blah, blah, blah. We actually got along better as friends.
That's right.
But that's it. She got back together with the guy 6 months later, her aunt's ex-fiance, right? That's who she left me for. It's just crazy. Anyway, they